talk about how we can go through this whole journey of having COVID within our own neighborhood and spaces. So the first problem, that most difficult thing, is the way COVID has disturbed our own lives. A lot of it happened in terms of the fact that you had to sit maintaining social distances. And if you look at our own societies that we are in, we're so used to interacting with people, being with people, and it is the socialization that we have that really made our societies. And COVID has actually robbed us of that specific socialization that we see in our lives. The whole problem is in terms of when you have to isolate yourself. And if you look at the whole world that is speaking about, is that the elderly has to be more and more isolated, must be kept away from the mainstream, and then put the youngsters in the forefront. That means that the lives of people who have crossed 50 and above or 55 and above now becomes very confined to smaller spaces where we are not able to really interact with various people. And if you really look at it, actually, when you socialize, if you look at the whole mental health space, what do we tell people? Go socialize, be with people, enjoy your life. And if you do that, you will not be depressed. You will be feeling energetic, feeling active. Here, COVID has robbed us of that very, very fundamental thing for happiness and joy. So if you look at it in the last few months of what has happened in the whole spaces, we are seeing the TV. And when you look at the TV, even a happy man will get very disturbed because it has so much of information on it, which actually is not positive stories. It is all depressing stories. From we started with the migraines, and then we went into people getting infected, and now we are going into how hospitals are not there. And then we also have this how the drugs are getting sold at higher prices, the tests are getting sold. So if you really look at it, this sets into a whole lot of thought process that becomes, we tend to become very negative and very pulled down. And can we do something about it is the first question that I would really like to ask. Is this something that can make us feel a little better? We know that COVID is here to stay. We thought it will go in a short time, but we know that in the last 4-5 months, we are realizing that it's here to stay. And it's also that we are still waiting for the vaccine to come, and we hear that the vaccine will take another 1 year, 2 years. We don't know when it's really going to come. So how do we want to go about with our future? The first and foremost thing that we really need to look at is that feeling stressed is not bad. It's a normal reaction of our body. And not all stress is really bad. If you don't have stress, then it actually means that you're not getting ready to do the next action. So that's why you have people who are like rock climbers who go and put their bodies into stress so that they are able to handle other life circumstances better. And there is nothing that, but the whole thing that we have to remember is that we may not be able to remove COVID from our lives. We cannot remove the stress out, but we can learn to endure it. And as it happens, we work through it and get into our lives in a much better organized way. Most often than not, people think that when I have stress, I'm the only one who's facing the stress and I'm overloaded. I am the one who's the center of all the universe. However, that's not really the case. There are a lot of people who are similar and who are walking the same journey, walking the same path, and there is nothing that can happen which is worse than this. So our lives are actually, we are manageable in our lives. The most common, when do I know that I'm really anxious and stressed? So we need to really understand, am I anxious and stressed? Some of the common symptoms are that You get very breathless. Suppose you have to go and if you're walking very fast, you get breathless. That is a sign that your body is actually pumping more oxygen to really handle the stress that you're facing. So in the similar case, even when you are thinking about COVID, you may tend to get a sense of breathlessness. Your stomach might start churning. You might feel that you're feeling sweaty and trembling. You might feel that, okay, I'm feeling a little light-hearted headed. I'm not feeling very steady. I might feel nervous and jumpy, or it might be very overwhelming, and I might feel very tired and exhausted. I might not be able to do things that I'm doing with concentration. At times, I might get moody and irritable. Some people might land up with sleep problems or might feel sad, depressed, and feel that what is life? Let's come to the real fact. Stress is not worth your life, because no matter what the symptoms that are there, you have a life and you have a living also. And by just getting on stressed, we may not solve problems, but only increase our health problems. We might increase our mental peace, and also we might increase our bills that we pay to the doctors. Now, what can I do about it? Can I avoid or get rid of the stress? As I said, we may not be able to get rid of the stress. COVID probably is here to stay. We can manage it. We can take care. We can see that our lives are better. Say, for example, if you have been a smoker, you know that there might be a lung that is weak. So how do I strengthen my lungs to make it better and stronger? Can I reduce the level of stress? Yes, we can. One of the, if you know what is causing you stress, like say, for example, every time I watch the TV, I feel very stressed. So shut off the TV. That's where I need to change. Can I take a break during these stressful times? Yes, you can. If you're able to get simple answers, that means you're having a readiness to handle the stress. And it's our readiness that we need to really work out. Let's look at it when we are taking care. The fundamental thing of stress is that we need to take care of ourselves. More than being bothered about the stress, we have to focus on ourselves, and we have to review the concept of the balance that we have. We all live in a state of being in balance. Like we have stress and we have eustress. Eustress is the positive stress, and stress is the negative part. We need both of them. Without stress, we may, as I told you, we may not be able to achieve, we will not be able to be ready. Without eustress, that is a positive stress, you might not be even be able to be happy and enjoy things that are there. So we really need to build our coping skills. The coping skills are at 5 levels that we really have to look at. One is at our emotional spaces, wherein we look at what am I feeling? What is my emotional state? The second is at the mental state. Am I getting depressed? Am I getting anxious? Am I getting confused? These are all your mental states. These are different from your emotional states, because feeling happy, feeling a little sad is not a mental condition. It is a state of emotion. The next part is in terms of how do we really get our physical fitness up there. A lot of people who really are in stress actually start thinking, is there a God? Is there someone whom, why is God giving me this sort of a stress? So there's a whole lot of spiritual bonding that you really need to have. And how do you really work out for it? And the last but not the least is the social well-being, like a sense of maintaining a sense of well-being within yourself. A lot of positive affirmation that you do for yourself, like say for example, I will fight, I will see that I handle this whole stress positively. I will do things that will make me feel better. I will do things that are needed to maintain my health. These are the little things that you really need to look at. So the first thing that we really need to do is to learn about the disease. What we need to learn about the disease, we need to know that COVID is an infection, more like a common cold. There are certain things which are a little different from the common cold. In that sense, the transmission is very, very high. So, and that's the reason why people are asking us to wear a mask. Yes, the mask is very suffocating. I don't feel like wearing a mask, and it makes it very difficult for me to breathe. Yet I need to wear it, and not only wear it, like it's that once you've worn a mask, you don't touch it, you don't touch your face, and don't pull it downwards on your chin. Most people, if you look at it, just pull it down the chin. The most important thing about wearing a mask is that if you're wearing a cotton mask, you need to wear a 3-layered mask, or wear a surgical mask or a N95 mask. While N95 is set for hospital places, we also say that when people are living with those who are infected, it might be more sensible to have more sophisticated masks. And if you have health problems, you can possibly look at a little better of mask, either a surgical mask or a N95 mask. When you're looking at the disease, many of them forget that there is a realistic pattern in it. What is the pattern? 80% of the people have mild infections. And the mild infections can be very simple. No symptoms at all, just a positive test. It could be where you are called as asymptomatic. The second part is that you might be having slight symptoms, like you might have a itchy throat, you might have a little bit of body pains, you might have a little fever that is there. There are ways and means of how to handle it. I will this. So if you look at these symptoms, there are ways and means of how to deal with each of them. While there is no cure, there are things that you can do for each of these symptoms. And when you reach out to people who are educating you, they will explain to you in detail and what are the things that you need to do. However, I assume that nobody is infected. So if you're not infected, and there are certain measures that you need to really do. One is that you have to up your multivitamins, you have to up your vitamin C, you have to increase your vitamin D, you have to increase your zinc. Yes, we ask people to start medication, and when you're doing the medication also, you need to improve your nutrition, because a lot of these deficiencies are related to your food intake. So use things that will increase your nutritional level. Like if you say about vegetables, we say eat dark leafy vegetables, or follow the rainbow, which has all the colors. So your food should be as colorful as a rainbow. You need to get zinc, and you get it from nuts. You need to have vitamin D, which you get from milk and eggs and mushrooms. You have to have proteins to strengthen your body. So you need to take either a non-veg or a protein protein-based nutrition, which is your dals. You also need carbohydrates for energy, so you really need to take that. And you also need to look at fruits and vegetables so that your body gets a wholesome nutrition. And to some extent, we say that don't go out, but try to see where you can get vitamin D. You can go up to your terrace and walk there and try to see that you have enough of vitamin D. If vitamin D, the doctor tells you take supplements, please take the supplements. We also have to be realistic about ourselves. Like as we grow older, say once you cross 55 to 60, you know that you have a lot of physical ailments, and these physical ailments need to be kept in check, because a lot of people might not really take care of themselves. They might skip their medicine. Use reminders so that you know that you have to take your medicines. Don't skip out on your medicine, so that, and keep all your indicators in place, because the minute you keep your indicators in place, then the infection is less likely to be harming you. While you're doing this, you also need to do some lung strengthening exercises, because as you grow older, your lungs may not be functioning and as strong as it used to be. So there are certain simple exercises that we say The exercises can be in terms of blowing a balloon, doing yogic exercises like pranayama, aloma viloma, or it might be in terms of using the spirometer, wherein you blow the three balls within the spirometer. We also say that breathe, exhale through your mouth, inhale through your nose, exhale through your mouth, in a way that you exhale through when you blow a candle, or as you blow bubbles, soap bubbles. So these are small little things that we need to really do and be realistic. While this is not mental health, it has a lot of, if you're mentally peaceful, then you'll be able to do it much more. Oh, pranayama is definitely one thing that will give you relaxation as well as help you in terms of your breathing. Accept your feelings, because a lot of it, we might have other issues in our lives which make us sad and disturbed or make us anxious. If by nature you are anxious, then you really need to work on it. If you, because having whatever is there earlier to this whole February, what you had before February month, can only aggravate if you don't take control of yourself. So you need to take control of yourself, develop mastery to handle these situations. And if you're really in a stressful position, talk to people. There are helplines that are there. You can call any of the helplines. If there are no helplines, and a lot of these are free, you don't even have to pay for them. There are health helplines, there are mental health helplines, there are student based helplines. So there are a whole lot of things where people will be willing to talk to you and help you work through your difficulties. Now, a lot of us are worried, what will happen if I fall sick? So the first and foremost thing is to be prepared. I'm not saying that you will get an infection, but keeping yourself ready for an infection is as much as preventing an infection. Many a times what happens, we are not really prepared. We don't really learn about the illness. We don't learn about the ways in which we need to strengthen our legs. Most of the things that we ask you to do when you're preventing as prevention measure, we also do it when you are also sick. So the activities are almost the similar things except for the additional medicines that are given. So learn how to assume that you're falling sick, and if you're falling sick, have your medicines in place. Don't wait for the last moment to buy the paracetamol in your house. Find out where you get an oximeter, because as soon as you fall sick, you need to buy the oximeter, so that you know that when does your, learn how to use a oximeter, so that you know that you have to use it on a right hand, on your middle finger, or on your thumb. So these are little things, how to do the readings. You also learn on how, what are the little things that where do you get oxygen cylinders. So all these things you can be prepared in advance. Where do you get medicines? So keep those things in your list, so that you know that whenever you have a problem, you know where to go, know which are the hospitals which are for. There are three types of hospitals. One is for people who are asymptomatic, people with mild symptoms, and there are people with complications. So have a list of them, so that you know, and have their phone number, so that you are ready with everything, so that your stress levels actually comes down. When you're well prepared, you know that your stress levels come down. Many times as we grow older, we think, oh, we should not disturb our family members, we should not trouble them. Remember, we need to ask for help. Asking for help tells you that you are in a positive mental status, because the very fact that you know who's my neighbor whom I can actually depend on, who's my family member whom I can depend on, are there any other people, who's the doctor who will be able to help me, who's my if you don't have a family doctor. So all these things you can actually keep in place and get in touch with them time timely, so that you know that you are shifted to the hospital much earlier in the day. Remember that you should know when do you need to admit into a hospital, because for the youngsters we might have a certain indicator, But for the elderly, they might say that if you have complication, then you move into the hospital much more in advance. When you have moderate symptoms, don't wait till the complication, breathing problems happen. So these are the little things you need to really know. A lot of the elderly, which is something that is, I know that in a COVID situation, it's very difficult to depend on people, especially your domestics. See, you need to find out, how do I really reduce my burden? In the sense, physically, there is an energy that you need to do, but there might be things that you may not be able to really manage. So, what are the practical arrangements that I can do? Can I do online shopping? I don't need to go to the market. Can I do online shopping? Can I have a full-time maid? Or can I order food? So you need to know what are the things that you really can put in place, so that practical assistance is there. And if you know that there is a help that you're getting in, pick up a help who has low social interactions, so that she's able to handle and work it through. I don't think it's a real good idea for elderly not to have someone to come and help, because when you're sick, they're the first person who's there in your house is your domestic help. Take small breaks. A lot of the elderly are like sitting at home and are distance, but there are certain things. There's a concept called a bubble, so you can interact with a small bubble, in that sense that people who are within the bubble are very tight. They don't travel outside. They don't they do everything to protect themselves. So interactions in that sort of a small space might probably help you to have your socialization in place. So it doesn't mean that you need to have only person to person contact. Nowadays, with the media that we have a lot of technology that is there. You have WhatsApp calls. Four people can sit on the WhatsApp call. You have Zoom, where you can actually have a party with people sitting in their homes. You can have prayers together, sing songs together, and all these things can be done. It doesn't really need a, the technology has opened so much. And then you have social chats. There are a lot of these things that are there, so use them so that you feel connected and you feel that you are within a whole space. In your planning, one most often not done thing is planning for your financial situation. A lot of people think we have the insurance, but are my papers all kept in a place? So can I really pick it up and then go when I go to the, if ever I have to go to the hospital? Do I have cash at the bank? Can I draw the cash from the bank easily? What are the alternates? Have I packed my luggage, if in case, well in advance, so that I know if I'm going to be going to the hospital for 14 days, I know how I will spend my time for the 14 days at the hospital. I might need some storybooks. I might need some puzzles. I might need some activities to do, some song. So have I kept those ready in my kitty? When we are sitting at home, there's a lot of boredom that we face, or we feel quite this. There are little small hobbies that we can really do. Most of you all must be doing it, and so it might be a repetition of what you are already doing. So there are a lot of these mind stimulating, brain stimulating activities. Say, for example, a Sudoku, which will keep your mental space a little more active and energetic. If you want a relaxation sort of a thing, you have that mandalas where you can sit and color patiently. It's a very relaxing activity where you sit and color the mandalas. Or it can be even doing a small garden. When you're doing a small garden, many of us think that we should have a property around. No, you really don't need to have a property around. You can have small pots which are there on your window. You probably will plant some methi seeds in sand, which you can remove after a week. Or you might put some turmeric which is there, so that you have those leaves growing up. Or it can be growing some tomato plants, it can be growing chili plants. All simple things that you can have a small garden on your windowsill itself. You can also, nowadays you have a lot of these courses that have opened up, a lot of the programs like how to use the internet, or how to do mass media communication, of how to write certain things on the net. So there are a lot of these short term courses that are there. If you have the energy and the interest, you probably can join some of these courses, and most of these courses are free. You don't even have to pay for them. It's only when you need a certificate, that's for the youngsters, that you need to pay a fee. uh, People who want to learn very technical stuff, you have bodies like Coursera, which gives you free of cost uh, trainings trainings that are there. It's also that, like Internshala, they have the small internship, so wherein you can do a certain small job, wherein you pick up certain activities there, and that also will give you a certain amount of money. If nothing is there, you probably can start writing a blog or writing an article for any of the magazines that are there. There are a lot of these small magazines. It might be as part of church groups, it might be part of religious groups, it can be part of any of the activities that are there, like youth group. So it's also possible for you to write an article and publish it. uh, in this COVID times, the people are looking out for people to help volunteer. It might be on a phone call where you can volunteer to find, tell people where are the hospitals, where do I go. So all these little things can probably bring a smile on faces, and you build a connect and a relationship, and you can actually build for your locality or for your space that, okay, if anybody is in a crisis time, we can actually, I will be willing to provide you that sort of an assistance, and you can uh, be able to be more productive and useful. Recently, an elderly lady had asked me, I'm feeling very bored and I feel very lonely. And the suggestion I gave her is that, why don't you all sisters and brothers eat together? And so the suggestion was that use the Zoom or your WhatsApp, and all of you all can connect with each other and then have dinners together or say your prayers together. These are very simple things that you can do, which do not cost you much. One of the important things is in terms of having humor in your life. Being alone, yes, it's very difficult to have humor, but I suppose you have so many jokes that are shared around, so you can actually start a humor club on the WhatsApp, wherein you can actually share jokes, and so that you start laughing and smiling with each other. For it more, the most important thing is to do something for yourself, and do something which will make you feel positive and energetic. uh, Coming to a lot, as I told you, one of the lung functioning test exercise is to do deep breathing. It has double activity in terms of, it gives you a relaxation, it also gives you a lung improvement functioning. So there are deep breathing exercises that if you go on the YouTube, you will find a lot of very nice breathing exercises, like especially the mindfulness exercises. Just give a find YouTube mindfulness, you'll get a lot of mindfulness exercises which you can listen and just relax it. Some of them are 5 minutes, some of them are 20 minutes, some of them are 45 minutes, or some of them are 1 hour. So these deep breathing exercises you can do, and it'll help you to relax and really calm down. And a lot of it goes with the visuals. So even if you want to do it on a TV, you can attach your mobile to the TV, because on the mobile it might be very difficult to see. Ask somebody to help you on how to attach the mobile to the TV, and as they do it on the TV, you can also do it. There's another form of relaxation that's called as muscle progressive muscular relaxation, wherein it's a different form of relaxation where each part of the body is stressed and then relaxed. There are also a lot of songs that are there, relaxing songs that are there. Each religion has its own spiritual activity for relaxation, so you can actually use them. And I found that mindfulness, especially the affirmations, help you a lot. Like there is a mindfulness affirmation exercise. I am. It's called as I am. So if you give YouTube a mindfulness I am, you'll find a video, and if you just listen to it, it tells you I am positive, I am strong, I am energetic. So if you listen to that, you'll actually start living by those affirmations, and affirmations gives a lot of energy to yourself. The most important thing is that yesterday's problem cannot be today's problem. So you need to find solutions to your problems, and before you find solutions, you need to know what is that is the cause of the stress. And once you probably will keep a diary for your stresses. What is causing me stress? So probably you can write a diary for that and try to see what is it that will help me to overcome this stress. So you'll take one by one and you'll measure them like on a 0 to 10 scale. And those which are very high, you probably will say that, okay, which are most important, which are very high, then you'll start dealing with those. And then you start understanding how to solve problem. You actually look at it in terms of how to find solutions for it. There's this concept called tracking the nuts, eliminating the ants. What are nuts? Nuts are negative unconscious thoughts. For example, I say the thought is that people don't like me at all. So that's a thought that comes to you. I'm not very interesting person. So the ants are those automatic negative thoughts that come in. One is the unconscious thoughts, one is the automatic thoughts. So if you look at it in that sense, I will not find any friend as of now. So if you really look at it in that sense, we need to crack the nuts, like what is unconscious and deep within ourselves. We have to go and understand those. And then we have to break it. Why am I not likable? What is it that is making not likable? How do I resolve this? How do I make myself more likable? Is what you really look at it. Those are unconscious thoughts. There are automatic thoughts. Automatic thoughts is that I am good for nothing. I will not find anybody who will help me out. Because these are automatic. As soon as I am a failure, as soon as I'm not able to do something, I call myself I'm a failure. So you need to crack this nuts, and we have to stamp the automatic negative thoughts, that's the ants, and destroy the nuts.
Excuse me, doctor. Can you take another 5 minutes and then we can have
Yeah,
it?
I'll do. Yeah.
Thank you.
So if you look at it in that sense, there are certain things on our personalities. We are some people who live on stress. There are people who are very relaxed in life. There are people who are perfectionists. People who think we are a little superior. There are people who are by nature anxious. You need to look at your own personality and see how best I can change it. Yeah. So if you look at the whole space, then we have 4 skills that we need. One is to be aware. We need to cope with our circumstances, accept the way we are and work on that, and finally take action. Thank you.